What's good, everybody? It's your boy Peck Stacks from Weisberg Games. Welcome to the very first Unreal Engine 5 blueprint tutorial, nigga. What's good? A lot of people kept commenting saying, bro, we need longer tutorials. Why are you doing these shorts, nigga? Stop doing that. So I'm coming full tutorials. Like, I'm about to start dropping these. This is for y'all. I'm not gonna waste any fucking time. Let's hop right into Unreal Engine today. I got my little list over here, so I know what y'all niggas want. Let's go. Today we're talking about basic blueprint casting in Unreal Engine 1. We're talking about basic blueprint casting in Unreal Engine 5. All right, so let's not play around. Let's get into it, man. So I got, if you don't know which one to grab, let me pull this down, make sure you can see this shit. Make sure we're gonna start. For this series, we're just gonna use the third person so we can see the character and all that shit. We don't gotta worry about none of that. Have a nice template to work with. So we're gonna grab this third person template and hop right into it. If you haven't downloaded Unreal Engine already, nigga, go to Epic. Damn it, y'all gonna make me do the whole thing, bro. Hold on, bro. If you haven't, bro, go to let me see. I hate that. Let's see. Unreal Engine download. We're gonna go here real quick with it. I got meaner right here. Boom. Unreal Engine 5, nigga. There you go. Just right up here in the corner. Get you the Epic Game Launcher. And you in the game, bro. Get you the latest version. You know what I mean? Latest engine version, depending on what you're trying to do. Cause I know sometimes for me personally, Unreal Engine 4.27, that's like my favorite version, bro. Like, I love that shit. Before they started adding all this extra shit. But as you see, I'm not trying to be like an old ass nigga that's, you know, rigid in my ways. So I converted over to 5 and I'm still doing projects. So let's go. So once you get Unreal Engine 5, my nigga, tap the fucking, we're gonna do blueprints only. And we're gonna call this YouTube. You can call it whatever the fuck you want, but we're gonna be talking about basic blueprint casting. So let's get it. All right, y'all, man. So here we are in Unreal Engine 5, real basic shit. I'm not gonna go over too much of the interface or any of that. Go watch some of my shorts, nigga. You feel me? But basically, you know, once you get in here, you can move around with the mouse. If you right click, it behaves like an actual video game, so you can WASD your ass around. You know what I mean? You can actually move around, fly around, go in here. I recommend that you start to learn hotkeys immediately if you can. So we're gonna hold down Alt and press P, and then oh shit, make sure you clicked in here. That's my bad. Oh yeah, we're good. And when you press Alt and P, that's a quick way to just play the game. You can run around and shit. This does not have sprint or anything. No, nothing crazy. Just a basic third person template just to show y'all we starting from scratch, gang. You feel what I'm saying? Can't even ledge. We're not doing shit. We just sliding. But just showing you how easy, like not how easy it is to start per se, but just how easy it is to get in here. Okay, so basic blueprint casting, my nigga. Like, let's just make this really simple. I'm not gonna do nothing crazy. All we're gonna do is we're gonna actually go to our game mode over here in our outliner. You can see it because I moved the camera now so you can see it. Let's open up our game mode and we're gonna grab our default pawn class right here. We're gonna go find this and then we're gonna double click that. It might take a second to load. Okay, so our casting is not necessarily gonna be in this character class, and I'll make a video later about like classes and stuff like that, but we're just doing something really simple today. So basically we're gonna add a variable in here, and variable, just think of a variable just kind of like, it's like there's a compartment within the character. Literally, if you go to your viewport, think of it like your character is able to hold shit in it as like a bunch of stuff, like when you're in here. Okay, so your character is literally like a vessel, bro, and variables are just things that can go inside your character. So if you were to put like a hat or something like that, it would just be a variable of the type static mesh. You know, there's so many different types of variables. If you do other types of coding, you know, you'll understand what variables are. So that's another thing. Like I recommend, bro, like learn. I can't believe I'm finally saying this shit. Learn like some type of hard scripted language. I am not fucking with, I think this is, what is it, C# or whatever this is written in. I'm not learning that right now because obviously you see we're doing blueprints, bro. So like I just like blueprints, especially for game design, allow you to like fly through that shit. But I recently started learning Python for cybersecurity, and that shit I feel like it's just like a whole different world. But for game development specifically, you know, if you want to learn I recommend maybe even learning Python or something simple so you can even start to understand the syntax and how it works across all the different languages. And again, nigga, the only reason I'm not even dropping these damn gems is because fuck it, like this is a long form video, so like I feel like I can kind of delve in more, and who's gonna watch it is gonna watch it. Okay, so we're talking again about adding variables. I just want to add a variable to this character so that we can manipulate it through casting to it. Again, simple casting shit. Okay, so we're gonna come over here into our variables and we're just gonna add a new variable. We're gonna leave it as a boolean, nothing crazy for now, and we're just gonna type test. That's all we need. I'm not gonna get into making variables editable, instance editable, where you can view it from like the browser, I guess, or what is this shit called, the viewport, so you can view it from the viewport. But Eventually this is something that you need to learn, and I'll stress more, but over here right next to the boolean, or it doesn't matter what type of variable it is, if we click this little I button, that's gonna make it a public variable, okay? And so what that means, as well as over here where it says instance editable, this is the same thing as making it a public variable, you feel me? So if we go over here, right, and we have test, if we were to drag, again, it's control spacebar to pull up this little island thing. If we were to go find our third person character again, right, and we were to just drag an instance of it into the world, if we go over here to our details plane and scroll down, you see this little test variable. This is the same test variable that is inside the character that we created right here, you know? So essentially it gives you a way to manipulate data. I mean, that could be a health variable. It gives you a way to, specifically for designers working on like the front end, they can manipulate things. Like if a character has power, they can do things to see like how does this work, like in a faster iteration way where they don't always have to open up the fucking blueprint. They can do it right there on the front end. So, you know, for designers and developers on both sides, I think it's like a cool thing for you to be able to utilize and just make gameplay smarter and easier for everybody involved. So, and I'll harp on that every single time that we're doing a tutorial like this, so you guys can just get like a better, you know, understanding of it and continue to use it. But we're not gonna really use it this time. It really doesn't make sense to use it. But right now, let's get back to our task at hand. We have added a variable of the type boolean of the name test to our third person character. Okay, so I'm actually gonna delete this guy because I don't need him, right, or her, whatever. But now what we're gonna do is we need something to interact with this specifically. Okay, so let's go back over here. It doesn't really matter where you are, but we're gonna control space to pull up our island again, and then let's just go to our content folder right here. Okay, and all we're going to do is right click, and we're gonna make a new blueprint class. Blueprint class can be whatever you want it to be. There's a bunch of different types, but we're gonna make a blueprint class of the type actor, and you can read it. And then over here, the cool thing I like about Unreal Engine, that I've always liked about it, is they give you like a really basic description. It says an actor is an object that can be placed or spawned in the world. Cool. But if I hold control and then alt, it'll give you like a sort of a type of thing where you can go see the full documentation. Sometimes it'll give you a more detailed description depending on what you're doing, if you're like deeper in the engine. But just know that if you're ever like really confused about something, you can just control alt over it and it'll give you a better description of it. You feel what I'm saying? Okay, so we're just gonna make a basic actor, like nothing too crazy. These can be used. There are a few things that you need to do to make them replicate it for like multiplayer, but again, we're not worrying about that right now. We're just making something really basic for casting. So we're gonna take our actor and we're just gonna call this our switch underscore BP, right? So right now, if we were to drag this switch into the world, there's nothing here. You don't see anything. Okay, so let's go to the actual blueprint actor. So every blueprint has its own little thing, just like we were in our third person character. Think of it as its own world. This is its world, where it lives, the stuff that you put in it, and when you bring it to here, this is when it becomes part of the overall habitat of the game, you know? So let's go back to our switch blueprint. When I mean switch, I mean like not like a switch, like oh my god, that was about to sound so terrible. I can't believe I would say that from like the 90s. I'm such a 90s baby. But fucking, I'm talking about like if you code, you know what I mean? Like, so when you send a command into the computer to talk to it, you can turn certain switches on, like a light switch. That's what I mean, bro, like a light switch, and that'll make it like really the computer knows what to do. So for example, when you send a command in and let you tell it something that's true, that would be like turning the switch on true or the switch off is false. But what we are going to do is use this as a switch to communicate with the character, to tell it to turn it true or false, right? Exactly. What we're gonna do with this, we're gonna add another component to this. We're gonna add a static mesh, and we'll talk about those in another video, but for now we're keeping it simple. So we're gonna grab this static mesh right here and just compile it, okay? Again, we don't see anything, but if we come over here to our right-hand details plane, right, in the static mesh, we've actually seen that we've actually added a static mesh. I'm gonna click right here and just type square, because I'm just add a square, you feel me? Or is it a cube, bro? I'm sorry. Bro, I'm fucking... Okay, bet. We're gonna add this cube. Boom. Okay, bet. Sorry, zoom out. If you zoom out, now you see that we actually added a cube. There's a cube there. If we compile it, we see we got a nice little cube. It's so cute, little cubey. And now, if we go back to our map, there should be a... Damn, that cube is big as hell, bro. What the fuck? Bruh, hold on, dog. That's not the cube I wanted. What is this, dog? Let me see. That cube is so big, bro. Hold on, bro. I'm like super OCD. I'm sorry, bro. I want a smaller cube. What the fuck is that? Oh yeah, if you're in Unreal Engine 5, you should be able to, if you want to use that cube, that's fine, bro. I just don't want to use that shit. I'm at OCD about that. So I'm gonna use this SM chamfer cube because it's like smaller and just make it just looks better visually. So I'm gonna come over here. Oh, now see how much better it is. So, and again, if you click on something, you got your little dongle thing right here. You can WER through the types of dongles you can use. Like this is directional, you can rotate it this way, and then R is for the scale, but I'm not manipulating any of that right now. So we're gonna go back to our switch. What we're gonna add is another element that we need to be able to interact with the third person character, right? So we're gonna add I think box collision, I want to say. Yep, we're gonna grab a box collision, click it, and if you click it and you hit enter, we don't see anything, but we actually have a dongle right here. So let's apply what we just learned about dongles. I just want to click on this little thing to get control of it, because sometimes if you're doing something outside of this little viewport and you try to WER, it won't do it because you're not clicked on it. So I just click it for a little second to make sure I got it, and I'm gonna actually click R to make sure. And then see, for example, before you make this bigger, notice we're clicked on our static mesh right now. So I want to make sure I'm clicking on my box collision. So I'm going to come back and hover in the middle here. If we hover over this, you can WASD in here as well. But if we hover over this right here, right in the center, we'll get all three of these selected, okay? And I'm going to go back out a little bit. And I'm going to grab these, and I'm going to just move my mouse up to make this box collision a little bigger. So now you'll see how it's like encasing the cube. If we compile that and go back to our third person map, we'll see that. If we hit play though, and we go to our cube, nothing's really happening because we haven't set anything up. But in the game, is registering that you know that the cube is there. So we can escape out of that and go back to our blueprint now. So what we're going to do now is utilize the functionality within this box collision to now cast to our third person character, getting to the resolution of what we were trying to do for the whole video. Okay, so in our switch character, right, if we have our box selected and we have our details pane plane or whatever, if we come down here to the very bottom, you'll see like a list of common events that you can call that when interacting with the box. All we're going to use is on component begin overlap. Okay, we're going to just click a plus button right there, and it's going to call up this event for us. We don't have to really do so much. Sorry, it's a fucking net. Sorry. You don't really have to do too much. It calls the event for you. Okay, so all we need to do now to make sure this is working before we do any casting is we're just going to call print, type in print string, right? And this is just a nice little print string that'll let us know that our code is working. Again, print string is your best fucking friend, bro. If something's not working, call a print string. If it doesn't print, it's not fucking working. You know what I'm saying? So let's see if we call ourselves on our shit, right? Alt P again. Let's get in this game. If we come over here, okay, sorry, it stuttered a little bit, but maybe, I'm sorry. If we come over here and we hit this, boom, you see how we get that event up there in the left-hand corner? You should be able to see it. Yeah, we'll get that print out. So you know we're getting interactivity between ourselves, the character, and the box. Okay, so let's escape out of that. So now that we have all that basic stuff set up, now we're gonna get into the meat of what we came here for. Okay, so easy. This is not hard, bro. All we're gonna do, like casting, let's say we wanted a specific event to happen, just this print string. We only want to print this string when it overlaps of the type character blueprint third person character. Like I said in my other video, bro, casting, if let's pull it up first so we can see the node. So we're gonna pull out from our event begin overlap, and we're gonna type cast to. Now if you just type cast to, a whole bunch of shit will pop up, bro, because you can cast to a variety of things, bro. The game mode, the player controller, because there may be certain events that you just want to call in a certain blueprint, right? Exactly. That's why blueprints are so fucking dope. For this specific moment, we're going to call it to our third person character, okay? Because we want to make sure, like I said, casting, think of it like we're reaching out to say hi to somebody. Like you're bumping into somebody, but you don't want to say hi to them. I'm sorry, this is a terrible metaphor. If you're walking down the street and you see somebody, right, you think it's your friend, so you're gonna say hi. But if it's not your friend, you don't want to look foolish. Imagine having like a device that you could press to be like, oh, is that my friend? And it would tell you to keep you from looking foolish. That's essentially what casting is, bro. So like if you want to reach out to a certain character and do something, you cast to them to make sure that it is that character. If you want to apply damage, anything, right? So let's apply that further. So we're going to pull it out and actually cast to our third person, sorry, cast to, what is that? BP third person character. Yep, there it is. We're gonna cast to our BP third person character class right here. Okay, we got this. Now that we got this pulled out, it took me a while to learn, but the other actor is who we're casting to, because this is the actor that's overlapping right here. Okay, I mean, and again, remember, we're not overlapping with the box. This event is coming from our box collision, remember? So you can call separate events for separate things. Okay, so right now we're casting from our box collision that we're overlapping with, and we're saying, hey, we just overlapped an actor. We don't know what actor it is. So for example, right now, that's why if we don't have this hooked up and we just go to print, it's going to print regardless. We could be any character doing anything, right? Again, just to iterate, we can be any character doing anything and it will print that string. So now what we want to do is make it so that it only prints if it's our character. Okay, so just to iterate this, we could cast to, let's see here, let's just cast to this thing. All right, Arc Vision character. I don't know, bro. I'm just trying to illustrate a point. So we can cast to this character right here, right? And if we are the Arc Viz character from this other actor component plugged in, then I want to print a string. Whew, now I gotta stop smoking, bro. But this should work, right? It should theoretically work, meaning we shouldn't see anything. That's the whole point. That's actually what we want to see. So check that out. All right. So if we go back here and we hit play, we go up. Boom, it's not working anymore, guys. Now normally this would be broken, but now I told you to use print strings, right? Because we're not getting anything because we're not the ArcViz character. So if we escape out of that actually and we go back to here, let's get rid of this node because we don't need it anymore. We just used it to illustrate a point. Now when we utilize this, all we're going to do is plug this into our third person character. We're going to use this other actor node, right, to plug right into our object. Now that we have overlap, we know it's our friend. You can go up to your friend, you can hug your friend, you can be like, hey, how you doing? You got a new phone number, what's going on? Think of that as the exact same thing when you're coming to talk to when you're casting to someone. Now that you know it's your friend, you have access to the relationship that you and your friend have, right? So that means as the third person character, I can do anything as them, the things that they do, right? So let's say I wanted to turn that switch that we created inside the character on, this little test switch, right? Oops, sorry, laundry's done. All we need to do is sorry, in case you didn't hear that, sorry, damn laundry blew my train of thought. But all we're going to do now that we know it's our third person character, right? We're going to go into our third person character and test this little Boolean, right? Because now we have access to all the things that our third person character has. So what we're going to do is pull out from here and we're going to search for test, right? So, actually, let's just do set test. Right, boom. So if we didn't want to do set, if you don't know what that is yet, we can literally just type set test. I'm sorry. If we type test and we don't see it, we're just going to keep scrolling down, and under variables, right, that we talked about, we'll get those variables that we set inside our character. We could get it to utilize it if it was data, or in this case, what we want to do is actually set it. Okay, so if we want, let's try both of these actually. Okay, so let's pull this out. And again, another way, well, this isn't a variable in here. Hold on. we have the set right here as well, but let's get it. Let's get test, and for illustrative purposes, let's print it for now. So we'll get whether this is true or false, right? And if you can plug this directly in here and it'll convert it for you automatically. Just keep your shit clean. Boom, just like that. Okay, so what's happening again is we're gonna overlap with this character, right? And again, these points, these concepts can be used across the board for anything. Okay, so on event begin overlap, we're going to get the test variable from our third person character that we created earlier. Correct. Okay, compile this just for sanity purposes. Once we have that, we're going to print it to a string. But again, we're only going to print this to a string if we are overlapping with our third person character. So what I'm saying here is when we hit play, we should see the printing of whether this true or false right now, whether this is true or false within our character. If we go look over here and we see this under default value, you will be able to set whether this is true or false. By clicking this, now it's true, right? If we unclick it, it's false. And also in Windows, if you hover over it, it'll tell you whether it's true or false. So we want to leave it false for now, compile that. So let's go back to our third person map and hit play again. Now if we come over here, right, false. We get false because it's not true right now. False is going to keep printing false, 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 false. Okay, so now what we want to do is and also remember that wouldn't have worked if we weren't casting to ourselves as the third person character. So now all we're going to do is we are going to drag this code out a bit because we're going to keep using that, and then we're going to unhook this, we're gonna pull up our set, and this can be used for health or anything of that nature. Just today we're going over the basics of blueprints and how we can use casting within them, right? So we're gonna pull into our set node, correct, right here. Oops, sorry about that. We're gonna pull this out a little bit, trying to keep it clean. And then first what we're gonna do is we're gonna set it to true. By clicking this, we're setting that variable that we created within our third person character from another blueprint. This can be really useful if you think between the lines for a bunch of different things, okay? So after we set that, then we're gonna print it, right? So theoretically, what we should get is a true, oh, sorry. Oh, you should get this problem too. Remember, this doesn't know that there is no variable of the type test within this blueprint. So it doesn't know where to pull that from. And you might get that error. And if you do remember, what are you trying to call that from? We're actually pulling this from our third person character. So we're gonna pull this right here and just keep it clean just like that, compile that. And so now theoretically, what we should get is the third person character. We're gonna overlap with our box. We're gonna grab that test variable. We're gonna set it to true, and then we're gonna print a string to make sure that it's working, okay? So let's go back to our third person map and hit play. Okay, let's walk over here, and it's true. Awesome, guys, you see what I'm saying? True and true. So again, to illustrate, what we did in this video, we went into our third person character and created a variable of the type Boolean with the name test, right? For the illustrative purposes of changing that variable. So when we then created an interactive item in the world, you can use this for anything, pickups. This is just a simple pickup on a box that we created a box collision on top of, okay? From there, we created a cast by, from the overlapping, we were able to utilize the overlapping event to create a cast right here, okay? From that cast, we made sure that we were indeed the third person character. Once we know that we are the third person character, we can then continue with any other code here, okay? So now that we've done that, we know we're the third person character, we're gonna grab that variable. Again, guys, these can be any variable, anything that you have inside this character. This can be, setting its speed, setting the health, anything, just for illustrative purposes, okay? But for this purpose, we grabbed our test variable. First, we set it, right, by making it true, and then finally we printed it. Again, if we wanted to go back and make it false again, all we would need to do is compile, go back and hit play, and we're good to go. It's false again because we haven't done anything to it. All right, guys, I hope that you have a better, understanding of how blueprints work, of how casting works. If you have any, type of, if you have any type of issues or anything with that, just hit me up, join our Discord. We just started that. But yeah, that's gonna be the first of many videos. I hope you guys enjoy it. Yeah, that's the basics of blueprints, and I'm gonna be dropping a bunch more of those. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Wiseberry, sir.